listen to the remarks and I have to do the closing remarks. It's a great opportunity for me to share my views. Only three. For which I am quite keen about. Can you hear me?
Just to put the sound up, it will come with the sound.
So I thank you for this opportunity for me to learn from your remarks, and it is always welcome, somebody from outside coming and then giving us the kind of remarks that we badly need. And also an opportunity for me to share my views. And let me particularly thank Renaven for bringing that distinguished and important visitors, guests to SEWA. Let me tell you that Renaven, since she has been here from late 17th, she has been probing us to think clearly and effectively. So that has been all through the highest contribution to SEWA, which is rare, in fact. Let me give you some background of India when we grew up. I grew up in those years when India was fighting for freedom and becoming an independent nation. As young people, we had pledged to rebuild the nation, to reconstruct our lives so that every Indian is able to enjoy freedom. Mahatma Gandhi has shown us the way. He would think of individual cleanliness on the same level as political freedom. To him, cleanliness in lavatories and the village ponds was as vital as spiritual salvation. We had learned to see the economy from the perspective of the masses. And his thoughts have been the source of guidance for me and for SEWA. One is simplicity, because we recognize that adding complexity is not progress, not necessarily progress. The second is non-violence. Violence fundamentally is inconsistent with freedom. The third is dignity of labor, sanctity of labor. Labor is the law of nature, and its violation is the central cause of the present economic malady. And the fourth is the human values. Nothing that compromises a person's humanity is acceptable. On these four cornerstones of simplicity, non-violence, sanctity of labor, and human values, we were guided to build India's economy. Because the human being is central in the thinking, we in SEWA gradually understood the view of development as holistic and integrated. By understanding development, we call it constructive work in all aspects. We correlate each of our activities with the impact on our own self, on the society and the world, and thus become responsible global citizens, world citizens. Such linkages have been the basis of our SEWA and SEWA movement. However, closest to my heart is work. I would put work as central to man's life, what we call karma. We all work. It is a work, productive work, and leads to development and growth. As we have seen while working with poor women, that work is central to their lives. Work gives meaning to their life. Work forges an individual's identity. Work provides livelihoods that produce goods and services, and thus builds a society, a nation. But poverty breaks down the balance. We see exploitation at every stage in the poverty situation, at every stage of the individual, of the community, and the environment, that is nature. In poverty, we assume discrimination at every stage, either based on class, caste, color, religion, land ownership, gender, language. Consequently, we have vulnerability of all kinds: economic, social, mental, spiritual. So people lose their faith and they cling to misguided faith. Poverty is violence, perpetuated with consent of the society, with our consent. Poverty and loss of freedom are not separate. A country can enjoy freedom only to the degree to which its poorest citizen is able to exercise his or her right. This is the conclusion based on our experience with poor women and working. However, in the leadership of women, we see a breakthrough. At SEWA, the women we work with would be the most vulnerable, but for the strength of the collective. Yes, many of you also mentioned that. We meet on the basis of work and create networks. We build unions to meet our work needs, to stop economic exploitation by traders, contractors, our governments, the global community, and the system and structures. In SEWA, we have come together to build a bank, to meet our financial needs, to save, to borrow, to lend, to build assets, to tap resources, to improve the material quality of life. We have come together to build cooperatives, to get integrated into the production process of our country. We build a social security network for our maternity leaves, health and life insurance. We have been trying to forge bridges to local and global markets through a trade facilitation network of women farmers and craftsmen across the world. We create schools to build our capacities to manage our affairs and make an impact in the world outside. SEWA is not a project. It is not a model. It is not an institution. It is not even about economics or money. It is about restoring balance between the haves and the have-nots. It is about self-reliance, individually and collectively. Financially and taking decisions individually and collectively. That is the taking part, taking steps towards empowerment. At the global level, let me frankly mention the terms of MDG, Millennium Development Goals, as I was involved in that. Sometimes our biggest quarrels are with our friends, and we debate fiercely about what is closest to us, and quarrel over what we agree. The goals are the same, but the means may vary, and the narrative in each case is different, but still. For example, all the countries of the UN had pledged to fulfill the Millennium Development Goals by the year 2010, if you remember. The world has not fulfilled even half of them yet. All the 8 goals were basically addressing issues of poverty or related to it. Sadly, as usual, what happens that employment was missed out in MDG, but later introduced at quite a later stage. My sense of MDG has been that it is alien to most communities. It was alien to most communities, not as a vision, but as a way of communicating. The development language, I think, we need a different kind of language for development goals, to be part of the people. It's the language of power that does not address powerlessness. Poverty is a form of powerlessness. It's a symptom of a people who have no control over decision making or access to resources. The powerlessness of poverty is redeemed by participation or consultation, but only to a limited extent. It is by actual control over life decisions. That is important. Power must return to communities, especially to women, to let them decide about work, livelihood, health, education, urbanization, refugees, peace, and the future. Their future and the future of the world. The missing term in such manifesto of nations is community. You don't find community being even mentioned. So, my plea to the UN panel on women's economic power is the following. 1. To put poor women in the center of any economic reform, particularly the key basic employment sectors, namely food, water, clothing, housing, primary health care, primary education, and family life. 2. To recognize work as central to any reform that addresses poverty. 3. Invest adequately in those initiatives by the poor that have potential to grow to a viable scale. 4. Develop and spread holistic potential to grow. 4. Develop and spread holistic social security cover for all the working poor. We need to realize that economic structures in each case is closely connected with the social structure. And 5. Build the grassroots self-employed women's capacity to enter mainstream markets, local and global. My plea is for a gentler economy. Also, I mean economy of nurturing of oneself, her community, and the universe. Who will do it? In my experience, women are the key to rebuilding a community. Focus on women and you will find allies who want a stable community. The woman wants roots for her family. In woman, you get a worker, a provider, a caretaker, an educator, a networker. She is a forger of bonds. In her, essentially, you have a creator and a preserver. So I consider women's participation and representation an integral part of our peace process, of our development process. Women will bring constructive, creative, and sustainable solutions to the table. Moreover, if women are the center, women's productive work is the thread that weaves a society together. When you have work, you have an incentive to maintain a stable society. You not only think of the future, but you plan for the future. You can build assets that reduce your vulnerability. You can invest in the next generation. Life is no longer just about survival, but about investing in a better future. Work builds peace because work gives people roots, it builds communities, and it gives meaning and dignity to this life. Of course, as I said before, I have put my utmost emphasis on work. By work, we do not mean factory jobs. We do not mean sweatshops and indecent cheap labor that leaves a person a slave to a manager of industry. And that is yet another kind of exploitation. By work, we mean the production of food and access to water. It means the upgrading of existing and traditional skills that people have possessed for thousands of years in agriculture, animal husbandry, fishing, housing, textiles, clothing. This work feeds people and it restores man's relationship with himself, with herself, with fellow human beings, and with the earth and the environment, and with the great spirit that created us all. The challenge before us today, as I understand, is to look for business opportunities, to look for transformation, to look for a different vision, not the same which has missed out work and women and the values, basic values, more and more happening today. So, but limiting it to the aspect of work, or the economy, the challenge before us today is to look for business opportunities in uncharted areas. Let us find ways to make tree plantation more profitable than cutting down forests. Let us make recycling more profitable than new manufacturing. Let water harvesting be more profitable than pumping deep groundwater and getting deeper and deeper. Let us encourage communal ownership of assets in addition to building private assets. Given a fair chance, the spirit of cooperation is just as likely to lead us to profit as a dose of healthy competition. With change in our thoughts, we will also need to change our vocabulary. To my mind, SEWA Bank is far more successful in its mission if it reaches thousands of small savings and self-help groups as a direct, as a district level bank, than if it were to become a national bank with large assets. I'm sure my colleagues will tell you. So it is economic freedom which I started. That it is economic freedom which will bring peace. Ceasefire is not peace. National election completed by the country dictator is not peace. Political freedom is incomplete without economic freedom. It is when the people have vote that we will get lasting, peaceful stability. I do see women making a breakthrough again. Women have been so long used as resource, cheaply available, always available. But no, the world has to be made to realize that women are an asset to the world. Women are not permanent shock absorbers in the good times and bad. Women must feature not as absorbers but as partners, as you say. In the women's way, there are goals, but also there are values. So I have been, just not making a list of the women's good qualities. But what I'm saying on the basis of our experience in SEWA, with our SEWA sisters. So in the women's way, or the feminine way, there are goals, but also there are values. The process of unfolding and learning from the process. I have seen this process per se is empowering. The feminine has a different sense of time. That has been our experience. The work may take whatever time is needed. SEWA has taken 30 years to reach a million members. Women look at the whole group or community and tries to include the whole, waiting for those left behind. So they have the patience to wait for those who are left behind, even if it means delaying the group of the process. The feminine aims at inclusion instead of domination, and process more than any goal. That I have seen all throughout. It's a process which is so heartening to everybody to pass through that. When they achieve the goal, it is not that much joy, but while struggling or while constructing, they feel more success. My colleagues will agree with me. The feminine aims at inclusion instead of domination, at process more than any goal, group over individual, integration over fragmentation. These are not the superlatives that I am listing. I say what I have learned from my continued experience with SEWA sisters. Why is this relevant today? The world today needs more feminine leadership because we face one of the most challenging tasks of transformation of our times. And the feminine is needed not just in the form of more women leaders, but also in the form of men honoring the feminine within them.